Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy, also going by the moniker ETCG1 when posting videos to this channel. If it is your birthday, I personally want to wish you a happy birthday. Have a cake. Today's topic of discussion is about my dad's truck, and even though it's my truck now, it will always be dad's truck to me no matter what. Now I wanted to take this video out on the road and drive around and, you know, have a change of scenery, so to speak. However, the weather outside is not so great today. It's cold, it's wet, it's rainy. So instead of going out for a drive, I thought I would do a video about some fun facts about this version of the Chevy truck, which ran from 1988 to 1998, I believe designated as the GMT 400. Mine is a C1500, which means it's two-wheel drive. If it was a K1500, it would mean it was a four-wheel drive. But two-wheel drive truck, and has all the markings of an SS 454, which they ran for I think 3 years starting in 1990. I say all the markings except mine is a Sport, not an SS 454. The SS 454 now I believe is a classic. However, this one, I'm not so sure on it, but this one came with a 350 engine and a 5-speed manual transmission, not a 454. So everybody looks at this and thinks, is that a SS 454? And I always have to say no. It looks exactly like one, but it's its little brother. It's got the, I don't want to call it a baby engine because, well, honestly, it's not got a whole lot of power. But as I said, I wanted to go over some cool facts about these trucks, which ran from 1988 to 1998. So they had a good 10-year run. This version of the Chevy truck was a little bit narrower than its predecessor. This is another innovation for this generation of trucks. These door openings are massive compared to what they used to be. And honestly, for a big guy like me, it makes it really nice to get in and out of these trucks. One of the things that was kind of a bone of contention, including with me, in fact, it's one of the things I want to change about these trucks, is the stupid gauges. I also had a 1986 S10 4x4 with the same gauge setup. Hated it. But come on, just give me a decent set of analog gauges. That's all I need, and that's what I'm used to, so stop messing with me. So I understand GM was trying to get, you know, creative with this, but also the stereo in this thing. Hate it. Really hate it. Back in the day, the late 80s, it was like a thing to know how to work a graphic equalizer to get your sound just right. Well, I've got to tell you, it's completely unnecessary. It seems that stuff all seems to be a thing of the past. You just need your amps and your preamps and your sub and all that stuff, and that's what people seem to care about. I can't remember the last time I saw a graphic equalizer. Not saying they don't exist, but I don't know. It's like they were trying to make the dash overly confusing and complicated to make it seem more important than it actually was. It's just how I felt about it. But another thing about the interior of this truck, which was a problem, was in the high-end trucks, like mine, the foam got all hard and became extremely uncomfortable. In fact, to that point about the seats being an issue, in this truck, it does not have the original seating because the original seating came with 2 bucket seats. This now has a bench seat installed, and honestly, it's not bad, it's fine. But I'd wager the reason why this does not have the original seats in it is because those seats got old, uncomfortable, and somebody decided to ditch them and put in what I believe to be like a second row seat from a Chevrolet van about the same vintage. It could be a truck seat, I'm not really sure, but it certainly is not the seat that came with the truck originally. So fit and finish, General Motors during this time not so happy. Also something that was an issue on these trucks back in the day is they started shipping them without serviceable ball joints. And as a result, there was lots and lots of front ball joint failures on these. In fact, I believe there was a TSB that came out where they were replacing them with serviceable ball joints. So they had little grease fittings on them, you could actually service them, and they'd pretty much last forever as long as you kept them lubricated. But the ones that were non-serviceable, yeah, they didn't fare so well. However, they did try to make an attempt to inhibit corrosion with these trucks, in that they actually dipped the frames in wax. And that was, as I stated, to try to help prevent corrosion. How well it worked? Well, I guess that just depends on where you're from, because I see a lot of these trucks around now and they're all rotted out along the rocker panels. And that's why I don't want to dry this one out in the stuff today. You know, eventually I plan to do some stuff with the body on this and do some respray and all that kind of thing. That day is in the future, and I don't want to create more work for myself down the road. But the frame is going to hold up great, apparently. This was also the first generation of General Motors truck that got independent suspension in the front on the four-wheel drives. They used the torsion bar suspension, and they used CV joints and everything. So it was no longer a straight axle and no longer required locking hubs, because generations before, you actually, to put it into four-wheel drive, you had to get out, you had to go out, lock each one of the hubs, and then you had to go and put it in four-wheel drive, and then you started moving forward, and then you hoped it would engage. But they started using, let's see, what did they call it? Like, it was their shift on the fly four-wheel drive. Insta-Track four-wheel drive, now I remember. So the independent suspension on the four-wheel drives and the fact that you could shift into four-wheel drive on the fly was like a really huge step forward for Chevrolet during those years. Also in the rear, they got longer leaf springs, which longer leaf springs will give you a better ride, and then they staggered the shocks in the back to prevent wheel hop. And that's like when you accelerate really hard and the wheels are struggling to get grip and they might hop as they go forward. Well, the staggered shock design apparently helped eliminate that. Base power in most of these trucks that came out was the 4.3 liter V6. They also had 305 and a 350 that were available, as well as a 6.2 liter diesel at the time. This was also back in a time where standard transmissions were standard and you actually had to order an automatic transmission, but they've since gone to everything being automatic. But back in the day, it was a choice between, I believe it was 5-speed G-Trag or Get-Trag, I don't know how to say it, sorry, but it was like the 5-speed General Motors one. What I do know about that transmission is that I asked Paul Cangialosi, my manual transmission expert, the guy that I did the T5 video with, about that transmission, since this one's been switched over to an automatic and I still have the original manual transmission. He says that original manual transmission is not worth fixing, and I'd probably be better off switching it out for something like a TKO 600 like what I have in the Fairmont. However, I plan to keep it as an automatic and not go back to a manual transmission, so that's where we are. But they used to offer the 5-speed. The 1-tons had a 4-speed with a granny gear, I believe, and there were also 3 speeds available in the 1-tons. And power steering and rear ABS was also something that became standard in these. So even though they were offered with manual transmission, you paid more for an automatic, you still got power steering and rear ABS, which was like a thing. And the last fun fact I will leave you with about Dad's truck is this is the truck that came out with the Chevrolet Like a Rock campaign that they did with Bob Seger, who is from Detroit. Anyway, those are fun facts about my 1990 C1500 truck that I call Dad's truck. I'm going to be starting work on this truck in the not too distant future. I'm going to do another video about my plans for the truck and what I hope to do with it to make it even cooler. So stick around and look out for that video. I'm debating if I'm going to post that here in ETCG1 or post that over on Eric the Car Guy. Not really sure, but you know, when it comes out, it comes out. People seem to be a lot more excited about this truck than they were about the Fairmont, and well, I just hope to do it justice anyway. I'm certainly going to make something that I'm going to look forward to driving. If you have automotive questions not covered in this video, because I didn't cover a darn one unless you own one of these trucks, I ask you head to ericthecarguy.com. That will be linked in the description, along with additional information about this truck and, you know, other stuff. So check the description for additional information. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and do all those things that help me make a living. I really, really, really appreciate all of that. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you very much for your time and for watching, and I will see you next time.